What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 10 of Skins in the Game. Dad is not in Florida anymore. He is now in Georgia. He is making moves. How you doing over there?
Working my way up the East Coast.
There you go. Still on vacation, though. Still has his vacation wine. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah. The extra large glass, because I need it to last an hour.
I got my quality H2O as cheap as you could get.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
that's how I roll.
I'm guessing you're more sensible than I am, because I roll with wine. Although I drink plenty of water, but
there you go.
Anyway.
Hope you are in this heat, let me tell you. We got a bunch of rain last night. It was pretty bad. Ruby was not happy. My puppy was not happy. She thunderstorming all night. So, anyway, well, we got a good show for you guys today. But first, we're just going to briefly mention what is up with this Pat Mahomes deal. Holy crap. I've never seen a deal so long. Nobody has, I don't think. Signing somebody for 12 years in the NFL is absolutely ridiculous. It's a 10-year contract extension. John, you have the numbers. What do you got?
All right. According to Albert Breer, give him credit, it's a 10-year deal. It's a $450 million extension, and they also are folding in the rest of his rookie deal. So it's actually, hold on, I just had something pop up and block. There we go. So folding in the rest of the rookie deal, it's $477 million over 12 years. $63 million is fully guaranteed at signing, and he has $141 million injury guarantee. So that is the
highest. Yeah, that is the highest guarantee by a long shot. I think like somebody may have been close to 110 in the past. I don't remember what Russell Wilson's got, but nobody's even close within 25-30 million than to 140 or 141, which that's good for Pat. But when you look at the raw numbers, that's pretty low considering the contract is for 450 or 500 depending on if you include the rookie deal or also the possible incentives he can get. So I guess if you're Pat Mahomes, you're still like, all right, I'm getting the most guaranteed money of all time. If you're the team, you're like, well, considering that I'm booking him for 10 years, then
plus he doesn't think he's going to get hurt.
Well, he's already gotten hurt. That's a weird thing. Like he missed a couple of games to a dislocated knee last year. He luckily came back so he could win the Super Bowl, but he's already had a little scares in the injury department. But
yeah, that's true.
But even if he gets hurt for 1 year, he should 1 year is not going to kill him. You know, it definitely will be. It should be extremely rare for him to get knocked out for a career. You know, knock on wood.
Yeah, unless he gets, the way I look at it is because he's not going to get majorly hit in the head because they won't let that happen. But if something happens to him and he gets a knee blown out, or I would think if that happens, it's going to be a leg injury, and I'm not saying I think that's going to happen, but it's always possible that he gets a helmet to the side of the knee, or and totally racks up a leg and is not the same after that. But you're right, I don't see a real high possibility of him being permanently knocked out like Joe Theismann, for example, where it was like, okay, and probably like Alex Smith, he just hasn't admitted it yet.
Yeah, Alex Smith is not coming back, unfortunately. But yeah, as long as it's not something like because Alex Smith had a spiral fracture up his what do you call it, calf, like the tibia or whatever, or fibia.
Yeah.
Fibula, that's it. The fibula, all the way up.
One of those Oz.
Yeah, to the knee. Like it was from the ankle to the knee, just spiraled all the way up his leg. Brutal. Well,
yeah.
Good for Pat Mahomes. Good for Kansas City. I think this is a great move for Kansas City because in 5 years, all of a sudden you're paying quarterbacks $60 million because the cap has gone up so much. And now they have them locked in at 45, $50 million around there per year, depending on how they break it down. But Pat Mahomes is worth all that money. Looking at
so let me ask you. Here's the question. I'm just curious. How long do you think it's going to take for that record to get knocked off?
The record. What do you mean?
The salary record, the guaranteed money, I mean, who else has
Oh,
been paid?
that's true.
You know,
I think this might last at least a few seasons, but I don't think it's lasting 5.
so you think they're going to get up to 47 million? There's going to be another quarterback that gets 47 million a year, or I guess it's 470 over 12, so it's not that high. But 40 million. So you think there's going to be a quarterback in the next 5 years that gets over 40 million?
If the cap number keeps for each team keeps going up, then yeah, absolutely.
Right.
If you get over $200 million on the cap, and paying that is not an outrageous number, and also you have somebody like the skill set of Lamar Jackson, I think he'll get paid a lot as long as he stays healthy. You have other young guys that potentially could come up to be somebody. It's gonna take a heck of a player. I don't think it's gonna be any Joe Schmo. Like, I don't think Dak Prescott is gonna get 47 million. Like, that's not happening. But somebody could easily pass it, in my opinion, in 5 years, just because the cap number is going up. Not because they're better than Pat Mahomes, but just because of the pure money situation.
Right. So the 5-year minimum, because the rookie minimum for 5 years or whatever, however you want to say it, that doesn't stop them from extending it. I didn't realize that. I just kind of thought about that. I thought the 5 years, they kind of made that so, your first contract is a minimum or whatever it is for 5 years, and they've been apparently able to roll the last 2 into a long-term deal. I didn't realize you could do it that early, but
yeah, nobody. I don't
apparently
think.
there's no restriction on that.
Yeah, apparently just nobody wanted to do it. They wanted to wait to see what they had. But I mean, if you don't see what you have in Pat Mahomes after his 2 seasons, he already has an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl win in 2 seasons. And if you don't see what you got in there, I don't know what you're looking at. I mean, the dude's a freak. So
Yeah, I can't argue with that. The only thing I'll say is historically,
mm-hmm.
and I guess in NFL is a little bit different. Maybe I'm thinking about different sports, but historically, when you give somebody a big, huge contract, it's not very often that you reap the benefits or you get the value of that back. Maybe they will. Maybe Mahomes will be a different story, but you know what I'm saying? It's like they give, and again, maybe I'm thinking maybe it's different in baseball and, you know, deals like Alex Rodriguez got 250 million back when that was ungodly amount of money, and the team didn't really get much return. And I'm trying to think.
Well,
I'm trying to make a
they
comp
didn't do
in
it
NFL.
they didn't do a long-term contract, but when you look at the money that Michael Jordan was getting paid at the time he was getting paid, it was like 1-year deal after 1-year deal. But they were paying an outrageous number to Michael Jordan at the time.
They're paying him 30 million. Yeah, 30 million a year he was making. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, at that time that was like, oh my god.
They won 6 out of 8 championships. So, like, yes, it wasn't a long-term thing, but they were still paying one player ridiculous amount of money, and they won. So it is rare that you get that, obviously, because Tom Brady did not get paid a whole, like, I mean, he got paid a lot, but considering where people rank him in the NFL and what he was constantly getting paid, I don't think he was ever the highest paid quarterback in the league at any point.
Oh no, not even close. I don't think.
Yeah, so
he always took less money, is my understanding.
Right, and restructured it so that they could sign other people because he wanted to win championships instead of getting the boatload of money. I mean, he still got a boatload of money. That's the other thing is people don't understand. Like, I whenever you have a conversation, it seems like, they need to make their money. It's like, he was still making $20 million a year, $18 million a year. He's not hurting. But now he's making that plus winning championships, and then he's going to get a lot more money because he won championships. Like, it's like a long-term thing, whereas I feel like some people are short-term about it. Like, no, I need as much money as I can squeeze out of them right now, and I don't care about anything else. It's like, okay, well, then you're not going to win a bunch of championships, and you may even be forgotten in the league, where Tom Brady took less money, and nobody's ever going to forget Tom Brady's name as long as it's a thing.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we talked about that longer than I expected, but that's what we do. We are long-winded. So let's get into our actual topics.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
Oh, I'm trying to say exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
No.
Not trying to say anything.
Yeah. No. But we'll go ahead and jump into our topics of the day. And unfortunate news has broken in Washington, and it seems that the name change is imminent. I hate to say that. It sucks to say, but money talks. And we have FedEx demanding a name change. Apparently the CEO is trying to sell his shares in the team. Nike has taken off all the gear from the website, so they are not making any money off the brand of the league. There's also places like Walmart has taken all the Redskins gears off their shelves. I heard Target's doing the same thing. Pepsi-Cola is also
was another sponsor.
That they do not want anything to do with the team. And I don't see Dan Snyder doing anything different other than, well, money's talking now. So what are we going to say?
Well, and this is the only hope I hold out is that if in fact he's going to change it, and I'm not arguing that he will, but just I'm holding out this hope that I believe this quote unquote thorough review has lasted days, and something tells me, or I'm holding out hope that Dan Snyder is sitting in the back room going, not changing the name. Give me sponsors that will support this. Because he said never, and he said never in all caps, and he is an egotistical guy. So I'm hoping that he is sitting in the back room going, what do we have to do not to change this name? And he's going to do everything that he can. But that's one thing I wanted to say. Secondly, and I know I'm not the originator of this, but I have the perfect solution to where we don't have to change the name.
Okay.
We change the logo to a potato. We take away the Indian. We put a big Redskin potato on the side of the helmet. We have French fries instead of the Redskins cheerleaders. We have French fries running around the field, and ketchup bottles chasing them, and we put a big spud, and then we keep the Redskins. The people that are bothered by it can just go do whatever, and everybody's happy.
That is one way to potentially keep the name. I don't think I necessarily like that either. But that's oh god.
I'm going to tell you right now, if they kept the Redskins and replaced it with a potato, I would buy all the gear I could, because I wouldn't think it would last.
Oh, what a I don't even know if that's the best option for everybody, but it's a funny option. It got me laughing. There you go. I've heard
Think about it.
Too,
the announcers. Think of the announcer. A guy gets hit really hard, and they go, "Boy, he really mashed him." I mean, you could.
A friend sent me a video. This is a little bit different, but a friend sent me a video of it was two guys that were trying to be funny, I guess, in the kind of the idea of Key and Peele. And they kind of dressed up, and they were acting like they were representatives of the team. And they said that they should change the name to Rednecks.
Okay.
And to show white people what it's like to be degraded to a mascot. And the top comment underneath it was, I believe the Rednecks would be so happy to have a football team named after them.
Oh, absolutely.
We got you frozen a little bit. Hopefully it kicks in. All right, you're back a little bit.
Oh, there we go.
But
yeah, I'm not sure how good my connection is here, but it's been doing okay so far. It's a little choppy, but hopefully it's not too bad.
Yeah, but yeah, I just love that was the time. It was like the most liked comment. Like, yeah, like you think that this would hurt their feelings in any way? They would be so happy because that's the mindset of, I don't know what you would want to say, a healthy individual. Like, it's funny. I like it. It's something that I could get behind. You know, I already call myself a red, not me personally, but I'm just gonna see rednecks in general. I already call myself a redneck. I don't care. You know, like we call it the Redneck Yacht Club when we do our boating get-togethers, whatever. Like, it's not offensive to
Oh
us in
yeah,
any stretch. Like, I don't care if you called me a redneck because I don't care about you. Like, it doesn't bother me.
right.
Like, I'm just going to
Yeah.
continue to do what I want to do. And if you want to give me a team to root for and call us the Rednecks, go right ahead. I could totally see this mindset easily. But yeah,
Well, and the thing I just wanted to add one other thing, that the offended is one of those terms that is not measurable. What does it mean to be offended? Are you losing sleep at night? Are you emotionally distraught? I don't get the whole I'm offended thing as the driving force behind this I think it's a ridiculous endeavor. I'm sorry. That's the way I'm always going to feel. I don't care what anybody else thinks, but as you've made the point many times, we are um, the everything to do about the Redskins logo, the name, the fan base. There is not once ever did I ever feel or have anybody say that this was designed to disparage Native Americans. It's
right.
exactly the total opposite. And it's just maddening to me that, like I said, all you have to do is say, I'm offended. So, okay, well, I'm offended at the Vikings. Why? Because the Vikings did, have you read up on history on what Vikings did to people? Um,
Yeah,
Raiders got a problem with that. You know, hurricanes. Hurricanes kill when hurricanes hit the shore. They kill lots of people. How can you make light of that by calling a hockey team the Hurricanes? You could this could go on doing anything or with anything. In fact, I've not read it yet, but I heard that there's a guy that wrote an article about all 32 teams and why that particular name's offensive and why it's supposed to change. I need to find it because I heard it's really funny, but it
Oh,
could go
you
on
could go.
forever.
Yeah, you could definitely go down there. Yeah, because like I argued with a bunch of people on Facebook about it, and it seemed to just always come down to, I don't care what the number of people that are offended by it. If anyone's offended, it should be changed, and that's pretty much what it all came down to. And then, of course, it all said, me as a white man, I can't tell them to not be offended. That's another thing. So
Right.
my skin color matters so much in
Yeah,
this discussion.
it gives you no standing in the argument whatsoever. You
Right.
have no business. Your
So
opinion does not matter.
Um, now, but basically, the point is you don't believe that. Like, if I told you that we were offended at your personal name, you wouldn't care. Like,
Right.
you would not look at me and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, my name's offending you. I need to change. What's a better name for me that you could give me so I'm not
Right.
offending you? Like, you wouldn't care. You know, like, you don't believe that just if anybody's offended by something, we need to change that. It's not even a
Yeah.
real argument that you actually believe. You just throw it out there because it seems to win you arguments in other situations, but you don't believe that at all. So it really even shouldn't be an argument that you're able to lay out in this discussion, but somehow they all of them do it, and it's like supposed to give them credibility or something, which it doesn't at all.
Oh yeah.
So, but in because like I would address their points point by point, and then I would just basically get, you're white, you're not allowed to talk about it, and some are offended, and we're not going to tell them to not be offended. Okay, well,
Right.
you're right. What?
And
How do I respond to that?
this is the absurdity about the whole argument. I know this is a slightly different example, but I think it makes the point nonetheless that a friend of mine on Facebook posted that um, you don't know what it's like to be a black parent and be afraid that your teenager is going out or your child's going to go out and is going to get killed. And I thought to myself, this guy is neither African American nor does he have any children. So he's going to tell me how I feel about my kids and how I couldn't possibly know what and it's like, so you're posting this even though you have no idea what it's like because you're not a parent and you're not African American. So don't lecture me on how I feel differently about my kids. But anyway,
Yeah.
I know it's different, but it still makes the same point: is offending or being offended is the biggest crock I've ever heard. And it is something, like I said, and to your point earlier, if I say I'm offended, if it has to do with race, then you're done. You can't question me. You can't say anything to me. It's simply I'm offended, so make me whole again. And
Checkmate.
it's
Checkmate.
yeah, done.
It's a one move checkmate is in their world.
Yeah.
That's all they need. That's the one move they need on the chessboard. And I can't respond.
Yeah, it's like the game just started, and you get the, as a minority, you get the one move that can checkmate me, and then it doesn't. You can pull it out anytime you want.
And so because of my skin color, I am incapable of imagining what somebody else feels like. Is basically what I'm like.
Right.
And I can't imagine how I would cope in that situation. And I couldn't do that thought experiment in my head at whatsoever because I'm of my skin color. But if I tell you you can't do something because of your skin color, I'm racist. But you're allowed to tell me that. But okay.
Yeah.
It's
another
all
term
good.
another term that's completely immeasurable or indefensible.
Racist, yeah.
If somebody, yeah, call me a racist, how do you defend it? What everybody gets pigeonholed into. Well, I have black friends. What does that mean? How do you defend that? There is no defense for it. There's no defense to somebody that's offended. It's just, I'm offended, fix it. And
in defense of a couple of my friends on Facebook, I really did appreciate this. It's kind of sad that I actually did feel appreciative of this. I did have them actually verbatim said that they know that I am not racist. I had another friend that said, I know you don't see color, Tim, and so I know that you're not being racist in this situation. It's like, that kind of made me feel good. Thank you for at least acknowledging.
I bet it was followed up with a however.
Well, of course, because I'm wrong,
right?
and they believe I'm wrong, but they don't believe I'm wrong because I'm racist, which is nice. They don't think that I'm a racist, and that's why I'm wrong. It's just, wait, I know who you are. I know you're not racist. So why do you think this way? It made them actually kind of listen more because it's like, all right, I know that you are not a racist individual. So I appreciate that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but that doesn't make you any less wrong in their eyes.
Right. And so we actually had the couple of friends that I'm talking about, we actually had a good conversation about it. And I think we walked away with a good understanding of where both sides were coming from. And I don't necessarily think I changed their mind, but I do think that it's like, okay, what he's saying is reasonable. And I wish that he thought my way, but at the same time, at least he's not being a horrible person. I see where he's coming from at least, which is good. It doesn't.
Yeah, you're at least being thoughtful about it.
Yeah, it doesn't help us in our Redskins situation. The name's still probably going to be changed, but that's life. Now, I will just bring these up. So Dwayne Haskins has put his, I guess you would say his chips behind a name or his support for a name, and that is the Red Tails, which is a tribute to the Tuskegee Airmen, the African American division in the Air Force during World War II, which is an honorable thing to get behind. I think that's
okay. I'm sorry, but isn't that reducing them to a caricature or a mascot?
Dad, I wasn't going to say that because that might be our name, and I don't want to go down that road. We could say that after the name has been decided, but now that you opened up the can of worms, it's like, don't give them more excuses to want to change the name. But yes, I did think about this too. Of how can this ever be turned into a negative? I wonder how this.
Yeah.
Of course, I say that facetiously. Of course, it could be. Who knows? 20 years from now, they look back and, how dare you use my ancestors to make money and profit off your blah, blah, blah. It's like, we were honoring them. It was something people
Yeah.
wanted to honor them, but you can't tell
Yeah.
them that. And then I know that it's been reported that apparently Dan Snyder wants to continue to honor Native Americans in some way, which could mean a team name potentially like the Warriors, keep the logo, or it could be something like the Red Wolves or the Red Hawks, which could be portrayed in some sort of positive light there. I'm just gonna say I'm not
Red,
going
I
to
will
make
say
okay.
no. I don't, and I'm with you. No name. I don't want to really say anything in a positive opinion about any name because that would imply that I agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But to the extent that of all the names I heard, Red Hawks are not that bad.
It's too close
But
to
again,
Seahawks. I'm not going to be another. Like, it's too close to Seahawks in my opinion. You're basically a lot of the same stuff there. Obviously, I'm sure your logo is going to be a lot different, and everything. But the name, I don't know. I feel like that's too close.
I still want to start a petition for the Redskins potatoes and see where we can go with it. But
Let's
it's
get
not
the
going to happen.
potatoes. No, it's not going to happen. But yeah, as you alluded to, I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm not going to make any opinions about a name because I know deep down I really don't want any of them. But what I will say is, whatever that happens, I'm going to continue to support this team because I have grown a lot of interest and intrigue and like admiration to the players, the coaches, the front office staff. So I'm a lot more invested in this team just than the name and the logo. So I'm not going to completely give up on this team no matter what happens. But I would like to keep the name and continue a way of making a positive spin on a name that was used in a derogatory way. And a lot of Native Americans have seen that, which is why people have made the logo, made the fight song. You have 80,000 people in a stadium of all different colors, all different shades, singing "Hail to the Redskins." Like, it's
Yeah.
a very powerful moment. Like, it's not a mean or derogatory way of handling the situation. I know that they've honored people in the stadium, Native Americans. They've talked about history of Native Americans in the U.S., such as one that has come up that I learned from going to a game is that in World War II, the Native Americans helped us by giving us their language to encode
The
messages.
code, yeah,
Yeah.
the code talker, or what do they call them? Not code talkers, but I can't think of the expression. I knew when
Yeah,
I saw
I
you
don't
mention that
remember.
earlier.
I don't remember the exact. Yeah, you're right. They actually do have a specific name that I can't think of off the top of my head. But the gist of it is basically gave us their language to help us code messages to hide it from the enemy. And so
Yes.
I've learned a lot of things like that. Also, the Redskins have donated to many Native American tribes across the country. They have helped Native Americans in many ways. Um, this was not a racist team ever in this, and it really sucks that this is going on, but that's life. That's where we're at. And
Actually, you know what? I think it is code talk. I just looked it up. It is code talkers.
the code talkers. There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't think that I know that they did not use this in a mean or derogatory way. This was used to promote them, and a lot of Native Americans saw that. A lot of Native Americans took pride in the team and having a logo on the national stage. Yeah, somebody, the principal chief of Cherokee Nation said, "We are reduced to mascots or caricatures," and it was such a weird mindset, in my opinion, to say that you putting a mascot of a people on a helmet is somehow a negative to them, where in most situations, like especially if you're a fan of the team, like that's a pride thing. Like I like you take pride in that name, and it actually gets you more closer to whatever that mascot is. So if you're a Bears fan, I bet you have a lot more affiliation with the actual bear, like a real life bear, than somebody that's not a Bears fan, or a lion or something like that. Like you probably looked up a lot more
Well,
information about lions. So
and think
it's
about it.
interesting.
Okay, so are we reducing the patriots of this country to caricatures and cartoons on the or logos on the side of the helmet. The New England Patriots are celebrating the patriots that fought for the freedom of this country, and there's nothing derogatory in my mind or belittling of the guys that actually fought and did what was necessary to get our freedom from England.
Mm.
And so yeah, I agree with you. I don't get the logic, and we've been reduced to anything because we're being celebrated. But
Yeah.
you're right. We've gone down a rabbit hole. We're not going to. I don't think we're going to come back out of it. If the second you give in to anything, they're going to go on to the next thing, and the next thing after that, and the next thing after that, and they're not going to be happy
Yeah.
until. Well, no, they're never going to stop. This is what they do. This is what drives them. So they're going to find the next thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's enough of that talk. We will see what happens, and
Boy, I'll say.
and we will continue to talk about it as more news comes in. But we're going to move on to something a little different here. We haven't talked about the Wizards in a while, especially not on this show, and it is the NBA return is happening in just a few weeks, and the Wizards technically have a chance. And what chances do you give the Wizards?
Well, I got to be perfectly honest with you.
I
I
could go through
followed
what
the
I have
Wizard.
here if you want me to. If you want me
Well,
to. Okay.
well, the only thing I was going to say is that I used to follow the Wizards more, like, and not. I don't want to make it sound like a long time ago, but this year I haven't been really following them that much, and so today I was like, well, what is the starting lineup? And while I've heard of Hachimura, I'm looking at the starting lineup and going, wow, other than Bradley Beal, it's pretty much completely changed. So yes, if you want to go through what you have and what you think, please do, because
Well, I'll just give a
I
rundown of the
personally,
situation. Yeah, I'll
okay,
just
go
give a
ahead.
rundown of what situation they're in. Okay, so they are currently 5.5 games behind Orlando. They are currently 6 games behind Brooklyn. So they're actually 6 wins behind both of them, but they have the Magic has one more loss. So
Gotcha.
now, due to the new format, they have to get within 4 games to have a chance at a play-in series. So theoretically, either
Right.
one of those teams they have to gain do 2 games on. That's what they're going to have to
Right.
do. Now, they do play Brooklyn in one of the seeding games. So in the one of the 8 games that they're going to play.
And I'm sorry, Tim. Remind me again. How many games are they playing?
8.
Is it 10?
8.
8. Okay, so
Yeah.
they got to gain 2 of them. Okay, gotcha.
They have to gain 2 games on them in 8 games. So they do play Brooklyn out of the 8 games. So if they win that, they only have to gain 1 game on the Nets. So they do not play the Magic. And some other interesting stuff is that I went out and like saw how they fared against the teams that they're playing against in the past, and they've actually beaten 5 out of the 8 teams, which was more than I was expecting, considering that we have majority playoff teams in the remaining games, and they've lost to 4 of them, and then they haven't played the Pelicans at all this season. So out of the teams they've played, they've beaten 5 out of those 7 teams. So, and then even more news is that KD has already said he's not coming back for the Nets. He hasn't played for the Nets all season, so the Nets still have gotten a playoff spot basically without KD. But Kyrie is a huge question mark. Nobody knows what he's going to do. Because I wrote in here, Kyrie is a free spirit, and anything could happen with him. After all, he believes the earth is flat. So you don't know what Kyrie is going to do from day to day, okay? And he's already said he's not afraid of taking a stand on something that is against the grain. So if he decides in his mind that the earth is flat, then that's where he's at, and you're not going to get him off of that. So
And how could he play for a team or owners that don't believe that the Earth is flat?
I don't know.
I can see it. Yeah, it's like,
Uh,
all right.
right. So it actually is very interesting what spot they're in. Another huge piece of news that is apparently Victor Oladipo, the Indiana Pacers' best player, has announced that he will not be coming back for the return. So Pacers are actually a team that we did not beat in the regular season. We played them once and we lost to them that one time. And their best player is not going to be showing up for the seeding games. So that is huge for them, that they could potentially win that game.
Okay. Well, let's take this from a different angle.
Okay.
All right. So, and I understand you're trying to lay out a path where they can make this. Well, let's say two questions on two. What do you think their chances are of gaining those two games? And then the second question is what do you think they're going to do in the playoffs if they make it?
Oh, well, they're going to be the 8th seed if they make it, and they're going to run into a team named the Milwaukee Bucks. And they're going to get slaughtered.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Probably to a 4-0 sweep. Probably.
Right.
But
so in other words, this is a subject designed to fill a serious void in the summer of nothing else going on.
But it's still exciting. They can make the playoffs. They have a chance, you know? You don't know. Maybe in these seeding games, Milwaukee loses Giannis. Giannis is all of a sudden out, and all of a sudden Milwaukee's a much more beatable team potentially. Bradley Beal turns into the MVP. Who knows?
And John Wall comes back.
If John Wall came back, then that would make things a lot more interesting. Now, do we beat the Bucks? No, probably not. I mean, the chances of beating the Bucks are still extremely low. But having a player at John Wall's caliber does make a big difference in what could potentially happen. Now, that big difference might be a 2% chance of winning to 7% chance of winning, which is a 3.5 times chance increase, but it's still a increase.
All right, here's a question. So you mentioned that the Wizards are within basically 6 games of 2 teams. Is there any way they could get to the 7th seed?
No.
I guess they'd have to.
No, basically they would have to win. One team would have to lose out.
Everything, and the other team would have to lose. Gotcha.
Yeah. But both of those teams would have to lose out, and we would have to win at least 7 games. I mean, technically speaking, it's a mathematical opportunity, but realistically, it's not happening.
Tim, we are a show of optimism. We actually did a show on 13-3 of the Redskins.
You just pooped on me for trying to give them a path. You're telling me to be optimistic. I literally was being optimistic, and you were pooping on me. Telling me now to be optimistic.
No, that was all tongue in cheek. Sorry, I didn't mean to shift gears on you, but yeah, it's it should be interesting. Hey, it's going to be sports. I bet you it's going to be basketball games that have the highest rating.
Okay, we have a Google Doc that we share and I put in there, and he can write in notes. And before I even put in my notes, I said, "What chances do the Wizards have in the NBA return?" ? He put 0.0%. Mr. Optimistic over here.
I stole the line from Animal House, and those of you who remember, Mr. Blutarski, 0.0. So, if you've not seen the movie, you have to watch the movie, but most people will get the reference. But yes,
there you go.
I happened to log in right as I was like, hey, I wonder if Tim's put in any notes, and right as I logged in, you were typing that, and I just was like 0.0. I did say it.
Yeah.
So
Mr.
You're right.
Optimistic.
I deserve to be called out on that. I'm just saying.
All right. Let's go ahead and switch gears back to the Redskins, but not name talk. There is some potential cool or positive news that have come out in the last week. Is David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns has requested a trade. And this guy is a very interesting prospect. He did get hurt early last season, so he basically missed an entire season last year. But the two season priors, he was a top 10 statistical tight end. The dude is a 6'4", 246 pounds, running a 4.64 40-yard dash. So he's got size and he's got some speed. The one thing I will say that is a concern is that I don't necessarily know how good of a blocker he is. So we could have a potential of another Jordan Reed situation where he's more of a pass threat. But hopefully he could be coached up a little bit and maybe he could become a blocking tight end. And hopefully he doesn't hold all over the place. The PFF grade also does not necessarily favor him very high. He had a 49.8, which is it's below average on their scale. And just a little bit about his injury from last year. As I said, he got hurt in the Jets game, and it was a scary hit. Basically Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for the Browns, led him into a defender. The defender went and undercut his legs, flipped him upside down, and he basically landed on his neck. And
Right.
it was an ugly hit, and he actually left the game with a concussion. But what came up that actually made it a season-ending injury, that's a little bit of a tongue twister apparently, is that he apparently broke his wrist that he needed surgery on last November. But surgery seems to have gone fine, and he should be fully healthy for this season. What do you think about this move, potentially?
All right. Well, I have a couple questions more so than because I don't have a strong opinion about it, but I'm curious. And I was trying to find out if I could get any. What is the reason he wants to trade? I was trying to find
I didn't actually. I don't know if there's a reason he wants to trade. Maybe just to get out of the situation he's in. Cleveland is a black hole. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's what I guess I was getting at. If he's simply like, okay, I just don't want to play for Cleveland because I don't think they're going to go anywhere, and I'd like to have another opportunity. I get that. But I would like to know if there's something else. That always worries me when you have a guy that's like, I want to be traded. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy or doesn't mean it's the worry is warranted, but what is what is the reason he wants traded? Then my second question is what would it cost us to get him?
I don't know what the going rate for him right now. I have not seen like any actual offers of what potentially could be there. I would be willing to give up at most a fourth. I think a fourth round pick for him. It might even be too high, but I personally think that he could be worth a fourth. I think he is a very skilled tight end, at least in the pass catching department. Now, he would need to be trained up on some blocking, I believe, but I like him. I've liked him for years out of.
So let me.
Yep.
Okay, so I lied. I had a third question.
Okay.
If they were to sign him, how far up the tight end chart do you think he'd go?
Oh, I think
would he?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in the conversation for definitely the second tight end, but he's going to be your starting tight end on third downs. That's that's a no doubter because the dude's going to bring more skill than we have in that locker room, in my opinion. Now, Logan Thomas and Richard Rodgers might be a little bit better blockers. I don't know actually if Richard Rodgers was a really good blocker. I can't remember. I think he was more of a pass catching tight end as well. But Logan Thomas is going to be probably your best blocking tight end out of the group. But Logan Thomas and Richard Rodgers do not have the skill set pass catching that David Njoku has. That's
right.
They're not.
And I guess ultimately my opinion is that if it doesn't cost us a whole lot and he's not a locker room problem, then I'm willing to give him then I'd be fine with it. But I've been very much, and I think we've talked about it before, that I am all about right now. We have a young roster with a new coaching, or not new for us, but a coaching staff that they know how to cultivate football players, And so I don't want to do anything that necessarily rocks that boat. But like I said, if we could bring him in for, not for a reasonable cost and he's that much of an improvement, then I'd be for it. But like I said, I don't want to do the Dan Snyder, hey, let's go try to get somebody that, and I know tight end's not going to be that person.
Mm.
So doesn't really um doesn't really mean anything here. But yeah, if it's something where it's like, hey, it's
Well, he
cheap,
would still be on.
or
Yeah, he would also still be on his rookie contract. Right now, so you don't necessarily have to, like. I don't know if he's asking for a trade and extension. Like, I don't think I don't know if he's expecting that right away. But you would still be getting a guy on a 1-year deal extension, like before you have to extend him. You may be able to get even a cheap extension because of the situation he's in. He's just coming off an injury.
right.
He's obviously in turmoil with the current team. Who know? I don't know what kind of situation you could get out of that. I would expect that you're not going to get a deal right away. You're probably going to have to sign him to a deal after the fact, which could be actually a negative in this trade talk. But maybe you could get, because of that, maybe you can get him for a 5th. And I think that's a steal for a 5th, personally.
So you don't think there's going to be a real big interest across the league where we'd get any not, I don't want to say a bidding war, but you know my point is like where he's going to have like 3 or 4 teams to choose from.
If someone else wants him, then I'm not going to fight for him tooth and nail. I don't think he's that kind of player where I need, like, he's going to change our team if we don't go get him. But I do like him. I do think he's talented, and I do think that he would improve our tight end room. So I would like to have him, but I don't necessarily. I'm not going to go crazy and give a 3rd-round pick for him or something like that because I'm a big one.
Okay.
Or 2 picks for him. Yeah.
Right. I get what you're saying. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to go berserk for him, but I do like him. All right. Now we're going to finish our Redskins roster 2020. We have the DB room. All right. Did you get a chance to look at any of our DBs on vacation over there?
Well, I haven't looked deeply into it. I know this is a potential. Well, let's just say this is the area that I don't feel extremely confident about, or that's probably one of the biggest question marks. As you know, it's not. I'm not like telling you anything you don't already know.
Well, you're telling me your feelings. I don't always know your feelings.
Yeah. No, but it's Hold on. I just totally.
No, it is a while you look for that. It definitely is a big question mark for us. Besides Landon Collins, it is like, and you could say Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller has shown that he is a good corner in this league. So, but besides Landon Collins,
that was going to be the 2 guys.
Yeah, Kendall Fuller and Landon Collins. Besides that, you do have basically question mark after question mark. There's no doubt.
Right. And, although I like Jimmy Moreland.
Yep, Jimmy Moreland is a tough son of a gun. He's small though. He's only a slot corner. Like, he's not a guy that you're going to put out on the edge with DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones. Like, they would make this guy look silly, in my opinion. But covering the Cole Beasleys of the world, covering the the slot guys, I think he definitely has a chance in there.
Yeah.
So, going through here, I have Landon Collins is my first safety. Sean Davis will be the free safety, starting free safety. I know Jeremy Reeves has made real big noise in the past for coaches to be wanting to look at him. I think he has a real chance of making this team, and I think he will show that to the coaches. I know because he just year in and year out, he always shows that he should be on this roster. And then I said, honestly, after that for the safeties, I don't really like our safeties. And I would like us to see us go sign somebody like Clayton Gathers from Indianapolis to be our final safety. And I think whether it be him or not, I do think that they're going to end up looking outside of the safety room unless they want Khalik Hudson on this team. The draft pick that we
Right.
drafted in I believe it was the 5th round. I think we had 2 5th-round picks, and I think he was one of them. And so unless that is something that they're looking to do, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I would like to see some actual. But also, the thing about him is he's not a free safety, and then we wouldn't really. I don't think Jeremy Reeves is much of a free safety either. I think he's more of a strong safety. So you would really only have one free safety on the roster. So I would like us to go see us sign a free safety, because unless Troy Apke makes some big strides, I don't think he's very good. And that would be the next free safety on the list.
Yeah, and see, this is right. This is the sad part about what you're saying makes sense, but as Rivera said, that he wants to see what he's got before he makes any decisions, and unless I'm missing something, they haven't had any opportunity to see anybody on the field and see what he's got. So I don't see, unless he changes his mind. I mean, I assume at some point, if they're going to start on time, they're going to have to get on a practice field where he can start watching guys, and Jack Del Rio, to be able to watch these guys and to start evaluating people. But until they do that, they're not looking for anybody. They have no idea. They don't know what they've got in these guys. I mean, they can read and do some background research and stuff, but according to him, he's not making any decision until he sees the guys on the field.
Yes.
And until that happens, when is that going to happen?
Yeah, this is probably not going to happen until like a signing of a player like this, until at least after the preseason week 1 of preseason. I think there's only going to be 2 games this year, and it also may not happen until the regular season. That might be more of the thing, but hopefully I'm wrong and somebody steps up big. I mean, I would be happy. I would be happy to see Troy Apke step up in his development and see another draft pick progress. I mean, that'd be great. But me personally, I am not looking at a group that I really like, and I would like to see them go get somebody like Clayton Gaithers, that, according to PFF, has had a decent grade. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was around like a 60, somewhere in the 60s, which is a round of average to slightly above average rating for them. It's nothing great, but I think it's somebody that could help your team right off the gate, especially since that was one of your weakest positions. So, but maybe they like somebody else, but I think they're going to need to go somewhere else to have someone solid there, because it's a big question mark here. And we'll see. This is going to be a fight. It's not a fun fight to watch as far as like a position battle, but it is a fight. And they're kind of like at the bottom of the barrel, but they're going to try to. It's going to be an interesting spot to watch, because it's going to be tough for whoever gets that final spot. Now I have the corners here, and I have Kendall Fuller, of course. I expect Fabian Moreau to have a step-up season. I like Fabian Moreau. Ronald Darby is somebody we signed who's still relatively young but has some experience. I think he's around 26, 27 years old. I like Jimmy Moreland, as you do. I think he's very scrappy and a good nickel corner, so I think he makes the team. And a guy that always just
Sorry, I was just going to say he's a ball hawk. He seems to be able to have that sense. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean.
Whether it be interceptions or fumbles, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he's fighting for the ball. Scrappy little dude. People say that nobody talks more crap than Jimmy Moreland. Like, he is on. Like, he's a tiny little guy, but he's a mouth, and he can back it up. Like, he's got some skills too.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody that I like, that year in and year out, that has always been good in training camp and in preseason, that always makes some noise during that time, is Danny Johnson. He was an undrafted free agent when we got him, and he made the team the first year. And then he just always seems to be a solid backup. He also does special teams. So I think I like him to continue to make some noise and be our last corner. So I see us carrying 5 corners and 4 safeties.
All right, that makes sense. I like it.
There you go. Now,
because like I said, the guys I mentioned, I had were the ones I had strong feelings for. The other ones I didn't. So you filled it. You filled the gaps in nicely.
There you go. Well, we have now completed our roster 2020, our Redskins roster 2020, and I listed it out here. Let's see if I can get this up real quick, actually. Could have had this prepared, but I didn't, so sorry.
I was gonna say I don't. You're gonna have to help me because I mean I have the document, but on this screen right now I can't read that. But I don't have my reading glasses with me. I am on vacation. Sorry.
Let's see here. All right.
Like, hold on.
Hopefully the people can read that this is what I have as the final roster. So 25 on offense, QB Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen. I'll just run it through it real quick. O-line,
Yep.
I have a signing Jason Peters. I like Wes Switzer as our left guard, Chase Rouillet as our center, Brandon Sheriff as our right guard, Morgan Moses as our right tackle, Sadiq Charles as our main backup swing tackle, Wes Martin as our backup guard, Keith Ishmael, one of our draft picks, as our backup center, and Jerron Christian, I think, squeeze on to make the last spot that he could basically potentially play anywhere along the line except for center. Running backs, we got Adrian Peterson, Darius Geis is our number 2,
Yep.
but I wrote it in backwards, but Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and I think Bryce Love makes a spot on this roster.
We knew what you meant.
Yep. Starting receivers, we got Terry McLaurin, Kelvin Harmon, and Steve Sims is our starting 3 because Steve Sims will be our slot. I like that Gandy Golden should get some time on this field because I think he is going to show some skills. Trey Quinn will still be there, and Jordan Veazey to replace Emmanuel Hall. I have Logan Thomas, Richard Rodgers, and Thaddeus Moss as our tight ends. And if we do...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Let me just interrupt. So is that an indication that you don't feel real strongly we're going to get what's-his-face from Cleveland?
David Njoku. I was actually just about to say, if we do get David Njoku, Thaddeus Moss misses this team. I think he takes Thaddeus Moss's spot, and Thaddeus Moss turns into a practice squad player. Which would not be
sorry,
crazy.
I jumped the gun on that, though.
No, you're fine. Over in the defense, we got Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, Tim Settle, and Caleb Brantley being our big guys in the middle up front. We have Ryan Kerrigan, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and Nate Orchard being our DNs. I actually really do like Nate Orchard as our 4th guy on that list. I think he's actually got a lot of skills, and him being behind 3 really good guys is another guy we can bring in rotation that will not be much of a drop off at all.
Nice.
Linebackers, I have Reuben Foster is our starting middle linebacker. I think Thomas Davis will be our starting Sam linebacker or strong side linebacker. Cole Holcomb, I think, will earn the weak side linebacker starting position, but I think Sean Dion Hamilton will be in on rotation quite a bit, so I don't think that Sean Dion Hamilton is going to be a bench player by any means. Josh Harvey Clemens will be a guy that we bring in special packages that we want a lanky linebacker. And John Bostic is kind of an interesting guy. Where is he going to fit in? Because he's got a lot of experience, but he might be waiting for Reuben Foster to get hurt, and then again, and he takes his spot.
By the way, just is Reuben Foster 100% now? I mean, he's all good.
As of right now, he should be. He should be good to go. From his injury that he had last season. Was it last season or was it 2 seasons ago now? I don't remember. It's all running together now. But anyway, Ryan Anderson brings up the rear there. I think he is also going to be used in special packages to rush the passer. And our cornerbacks, Kendall Fuller, Fabian Moreau, Ronald Darby, Jimmy Moreland, and Danny Johnson. Our starters will be Kendall Fuller, Fabian Moreau, and then Ronald Darby will be the 3rd guy. Jimmy Moreland will be brought in on special occasions to guard the nickel. And
on the packages, yeah.
Yep. Landon Collins and Sean Davis will be your starting safeties, and I think that I have Clayton Gaithers as our backup free safety and Jeremy Reeves making this team as well. And then, of course, our specials, Dustin Hopkins, Trustway, and Nick Sundberg. Where do you rate this on a letter grade of an NFL team roster? Where do you have us?
I know. I thought you were a little harsh on your grade. Just so
Well,
you know.
don't talk about
I
my
think.
grade yet. I haven't told the people my grade yet. So we're talking about your grade.
Oh, sorry. I like it. I think. I mean, I know there's a lot of question marks, but a lot of upside. So I think I would have to put it in the B minus
B minus?
category.
Pick one.
Yeah. All right, B minus. No, you know what? I'm gonna be up. I'm an optimistic guy. I'm gonna say B.
I was really hoping you were saying I'm an optimistic guy. I'm going to say A minus. No, just kidding. But
No, I'm trying not to be a homer here, man. Come on.
right, I have this roster as like looking at it in my opinion, strong opinion. I have it as a C plus. And the big reasons is that you have a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins that really makes or breaks your roster. In my opinion, while there was growth last season, he still has a lot more growth to be had. Like, he is not a finished product whatsoever. So he could make this way out of the water. But you also have linebackers with huge question marks. The tight ends are not anything to write home about. I mean, I think they're okay, but they're not anything to be great about. If I'm honestly looking at this, I think in the league, I see this as a C plus with an arrow pointing up because of a lot of the young talent. And this is why I have us as a 6-10 team. And I don't think that our roster is necessarily quite there yet for us to be a great team this year. But next year, this team could be legit, especially if Dwayne Haskins makes big strides that we want him to. And Terry McLaurin, Kelvin Harmon, and Antonio Gandy Golden turn into a legit receiving core. Obviously, we like our front line. Some of these young linebackers step up. If Reuben Foster stays healthy, also that helps. So I'm right in that.
Yeah,
range.
I'm really interested to see what he does.
I settled on C plus, but like you, I was settling between a C plus and a B minus. I was in that range. I decided to go there. You went high, I went low. So let's add them together, and I think we have about a B minus roster.
See, I'm more optimistic than you are. That's why I gave him the B minus.
Of course you're more optimistic than me. I am the realist. Okay, you are the homer. That's how we work.
No, I actually saw him back in the day when they were good. You were too young to see that. That's why you have no optimism right now.
I've seen one playoff win as a cognitive person. You know, like I guess technically they may have been one playoff win in the 90s that I was alive for and I don't remember, but I do remember the Tampa Bay win in 2005. And that's
Joe Gibbs.
Yep, Joe Gibbs with Tampa Bay.
Did you realize that Joe Gibbs took him to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years? I didn't. I heard that a while ago. I was like, really?
Was he only here for 3 years?
Yeah, and it's 2.0. I think he only came back for 3 years. I think.
It might be
Maybe
4,
I'm wrong.
But it doesn't matter. But yeah, he did bring us to the playoffs 2 years. I think it was 4 because I don't think he brought us to the playoffs the first year. I think we lost the first year. He brought us in 2005. We missed in 2006, and he brought us in 2007. I think.
All right, here I'm looking it up real quick. If I could tell you.
If I remember correctly.
And you could be right. I thought I heard 3, but
he did bring us to the playoffs two times in 3 years. Maybe that's the quote that they're saying because they brought us to the playoffs in 2005, not in 2006 and 2007. So maybe
you're right.
That's what they meant.
2004 through 2007. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. And so he brought us to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years in a 3-year period.
Yeah, it was 10-6. He went 6-10, 10-6, 5-11, and then 9-7. And I assume the 10-6 and 9-7 were the playoffs Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you didn't make it as 6 and
Well,
6 and 10, but
9-7. That 9-7 was a fantastic year. That was unfortunately the year that Sean Taylor passed. But after Sean Taylor passed, Todd Collins came in as the backup over an injured Jason Campbell, and Todd Collins just lit it up for 4 games in a row.
right.
And the Redskins looked like, hey, anything could happen. We're in the race. Anything could happen in the playoffs. And then I thought it was just so terrible to put Jason Campbell back in because he came back from injury, so we started Jason Campbell, and the Seahawks
Yep.
just tore us up. I would have really liked to give Todd Collins an opportunity there. He got us to the playoffs. We were 5-7 team, and he won 4 in a row to get us there in the playoffs. I would have loved to see him to continue to lead in a Nick Foles style fashion.
Right.
Who knows what could have happened that year? Our defense was legit that year. With what's his name? Greg Williams. Wasn't he there at that time?
Yep.
Yeah, Greg Williams is
Yeah,
our
'cause
defensive
the year-
coordinator.
Because the year Sean Taylor passed, he actually did the 10-man. The first play of that game, I was at the
Against
stadium, and he
Buffalo,
only had
yep.
the 10. And Joe Gibbs was not happy because he failed to tell Joe Gibbs that he was doing it. And of course, the other team didn't. I don't think they got the message either, because they basically thought it looked like, hey, you only put 10 people on the field. We're gonna. And they got a long gain, and
Yeah, it was
Joe
like a
Gibbs was
40-yard
not
run or something like that, 45-yard run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was basically, hey, you. So he could have communicated it better, and I think if he had communicated it with the other team, and said, "Look, we'd like to do a tribute to Sean Taylor. We're gonna do a 10-man thing." I think that team would have run the ball up the middle and just been like, "Okay," but I don't think he communicated it to anybody, and other than his defensive guys. And
Well, what
it
could have
didn't work out
happened?
so
What
well.
could have happened is they could have just taken a, uh, delay a game penalty, and then the Redskins could have declined it.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
is
that-
what could have happened. Because that's something similar happened to the Terps when the young man died at Maryland, and they started the season, their first play, with 10 men on the field, and they took a delay of game penalty, and then the other team actually was the one that declined it out of respect.
Yeah.
So it was a very classy move on all sides, and
Yep.
it was a good move in a bad situation. Same thing with Sean Taylor. It was a good idea, but yeah, clearly not communicated to the other team, or else the other team did not give two craps about you losing. Yeah, or yeah, at the very least, the other team did not care about Sean Taylor's death.
Right.
If that was the case,
One way or the other was
Which
poorly
I would-
executed. So.
yeah, I would highly doubt that was the case. I'm sure that they would have if communicated properly. But awesome, that's a show. We had fun for the most part. This might be one of the last shows as a talking about the Redskins. This very well could be. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in the next week. We may have a new team. Could be the Red Tails, the Red Wolves, the Warriors. Could be anything. So we may be talking about a new team. But the Skins in the Game title will stay. Okay? We're going to continue to be the Skins in the game because nonetheless, we have skin in the game. And our team was the Skins. But anything can happen. And all of those... anybody that we do celebrate also has skins, so we all have skin. But anyway,
That's right.
comment down below. Oh shoot, I forgot to do a question of the day. Crap, I wanted to start doing a question of the day at the beginning, so I may have to edit in a question of the day at the beginning because I want to try to get some comments flowing. And I thought of the question of the day would be probably something along the lines of the name change. What should the name be if we change, and or should we be like you, finding a way to keep it? But if it seems like it's imminent, money's talking. So question of the day is, what is the new name going to be, and what would you like to see it be? I'm not going to answer that question, but you guys can in the comments. Anything else?
Nope. I'm good.
See you guys.